Alright, so welcome back. We are outside in the car hauler project, and we are going to take out that transmission that needs some good looking at. So that's what we're going to do today. Hopefully we'll be able to see just a quick outside inspection of it before we close off for the day. So I got some tools. I'm probably going to cut the transmission cooling lines because they all have to be replaced anyways, so what's the point in struggling with the flare nuts? So essentially what happened with this thing is I've had some overheating issues with the radiator. So that, coupled with it spending a couple years out in Colorado, we probably dried up a lot of the seals, overheated it a little bit, but it did manage to drive from Colorado to Nebraska, so that's quite a few miles that this piece of junk made it on a broken transmission. So we're going to tear this thing out, and one of the videos in the future we're going to tear it apart and rebuild that thing. So let's just get tearing at this thing and hopefully make good for the day. Alright, so of course these P30 vehicles, they are great for maintenance. As you can tell, we got decent access to a whole bunch of things, but we're going to have to really clean up this pig here and see what we can do with it. I might pick up a set of headers for it. Maybe gain a couple power there. Then we'll definitely have to do some spark plugs, wires, probably cap and rotor, the usual stuff. But today all that we're doing is just yanking the transmission. We just have to hit all the bolts around the outside, take all the bolts off of the flywheel to torque converter, make sure the drive shaft's off and the transmission support is taken care of, and we can just drop the whole thing out. Alright, so it's been a pretty long haul here. Finally got bell housing separated there. Found that there was some transmission fluid in the coupler piece here, so that's not ideal. I'll have to go through and redo this harness a little bit. It looks like all the wires are still good in it, but the protection needs to be redone. So pretty much got that. I opted to remove the exhaust because that transmission cross member actually can't be removed very easily. So this should give me enough room to weasel it on out. I've got everything disconnected, so it's just a matter of smacking it and pulling it down. So I'm going to have to do that, and then we'll get it on the table and see what we have. Alright, well, we got her back up in the shop here. Wasn't too terrible. This thing's definitely a lot heavier than a different transmission I tried to mess around with. Let's just pull these guys out just to anyways, got those out. Suppose now we can really just flip it over, hit the pan, and see if we got some sort of disaster going on in there. Alright, well, it is definitely not what you call the lightest thing on the planet. But I guess that's probably pretty good. So, we need to, looks like it's them. Alright, now we just pop this thing off and we are probably going to make a ginormous mess. Okay, good, we're not. Survey says it is blacked out in here. So, that's always fun. See what we got going on in here. We can get our, oh, everything's, all the plugs are breaking. Yeah, every last single bit of these plastic pieces are snapping and crackling. So you replace them anyways. So not anything we have to really worry about. It's like previously, before I did a roadside assistance, where I flushed out and replaced the oil pan and replaced the oil, replaced the filter as well. But when we took the pan off, the filter itself came off, fell out with the pan. So that was probably issue number one that I ran into. But yeah, aside from all that. Alright, anyways. Let's go and move this guy. Alright, definitely two different bolts. Toss those guys back in the hole where they came from. Alright, set that aside. Alright, this guy's all loosened up. I'm just going to pull it straight up with all the bolts and everything, and I'm just going to set it in the pan over there. All right, our gasket's really torn up. Not exactly surprising, I'd say. I guess I wish I knew what I did with my magnet. Let's see if my makeshift magnet's good enough. It is not. How about we just... We'll do it that way then. Got all check balls. This gasket's crumbling. That's where part of my wonder is if this gasket just kind of let go and we had some leakage, and then that caused it to slip, and then it starts heating, then everything kind of crashes and burns from that point. Yeah, because this is all just crunchy. Make sure we get our check balls into the pan. This had some relatively red fluid in it still. Alright, so we are making a big mess.
that certainly was a work and a half. You feel a couple grooves on it from the seal. So that tells me it's been at least a couple miles. Oh yeah, now we're making a good mess. All right, if I'm reading bearings correctly, this one looks a little cooked. I mean, it's not terrible. But it's also not good either. All right, since I'm not necessarily good with transmissions, I don't memorize where everything is, I am making sure that everything that I take off ends up back in the same group that I took it off in. Some of these things like the oil lines and such, kind of a no-brainer. All the pan bolts over there. Pull this guy out. Okay, now I guess we need to go pull the pump off, and then we can start gutting this thing. Sure I got a spot cleared to stuff this big off. Tie. Trying to hook this retaining ring here. There it comes. Grab these guys. This one doesn't look that terrible. Try to see if I can remember how they come apart. All right, I found the bolt I was looking for. It was a Torx up here. It was hidden underneath some gasket material. So that's what allows you to remove this guy. All right. Put that in the pile. What else we got in here? Got this guy. Alright, what else we got? Another ring. Where to put my screwdriver? Got our band. Doesn't look too effed up. We need to smash our sensor out. It was stuck in there, so we'll need a new speed sensor. All right. One more ring out of here. These clutches out. You can still see writing on that one. This one looks a little smoked. That one's a little smoked. Wee bit smoked. A little smoked. Alright. I mean, it's not terrible and horrible. This guy's a little scorched here. Bearing in here. And the rest of that. I'm going to wager that whatever piece this is, we're going to have to replace. See if you can see it. These are all grooves that you can actually feel with your finger. That's from the big boy band wearing on it. because they've got like grooves to let the oil in, so that's where all the grooves are feeling and picking up. So, I don't think that's too bad. So yeah, we got that case. Okay, well, anyways, that's everything exploded. Now I'm going to have to go through and figure out what things are good, what things aren't, and get a mortar up, and then cleaned up. Then we'll get to install this thing again. Anyways, thanks for watching. Hopefully we'll see you again later.